Se volteó esto.
Se volteó, me quedas presumir tu piscina.
Sí, se volteó un rato acá la piscina. Hay
Muy
buen
bien, muy bien.
clima por acá. ¿Cómo está el clima por Alemania?
Fíjate, ahorita te comento, estoy en México, de hecho.
Aquí bien.
Me- sí, sí, me vine a México pues unos días después cuando pasó esto de la cuarentena, del COVID y todo esto, pues decidí que lo mejor era venirme a México, porque de hecho el coach nos recomendó venirnos unos días a México porque pues no había mucho que hacer en Alemania, cerraron gimnasios, la pista está cerrada, entonces pues dijo, ¿saben qué? Váyanse mejor ahí con su familia, en sus casas, estén tranquilos, vamos a pasar este tiempo pues tranquilos y ya que pase se regresa. Entonces, pues aquí me vine, aquí estoy todavía en mi casa, Agua Prieta, Sonora, un
Qué
pueblito muy
bien,
chiquito al norte de México.
qué bien, qué bien. Oye, lo máximo. Edgar, la entrevista va a ser en inglés, ¿está bien?
Sí, sí, claro que sí, a
No
ver
te
si me acuerdo.
preocupes
Ay,
por
no.
tanto porque, o sea, los dos hablamos español y sería bacán, pero le damos en inglés.
Sí, está bien, con gusto.
Gracias. Hi guys, here we have in another episode of Coffee with Hugo. We have the honor to have Edgar Rivera. Edgar is he's an Olympian from Mexico, personal best 230, 36 and a half in English, and is also not only a world championship finalist. You were fourth. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, in London, I remember, like it was yesterday. It was a great experience. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, hey man, it's an honor to have you. By the way, it was awesome to finally meet you when Daniela and I were in Germany. Uh, you are not only a great athlete, but an unbelievable person, and I commend you for that. That is,
Thank you very much, Hugo. You are the same. You're a really nice guy, nice person.
well, we try.
Yes. Yeah, you are, and a great dad also. You're always supporting Daniela, and I'm sure she's gonna be also a great high jumper because you're always there for her, and as good a high jumper as you were, hopefully. So,
Thank you, bro.
yeah.
I appreciate it, Edgar. Edgar, this is great. Thank you for being so kind with your time. Uh, I wanted to start just to get going and to start a little bit so people get to know you. Uh, how did you start it? I mean, so how do you start? Tell me a little bit about
My
your
beginnings.
yeah, your beginnings.
So I'm from a little town in up north Mexico. It's called Agua Prieta, Sonora. It's not much going on around in here. And I remember our professor, our teacher for physical education class was the one who like introduced us to athletics. Me and my brothers. My brothers are older. I have three brothers, two older and one younger one. But my two older brothers, Luis and Jorge, they were the ones who started first in athletics. Um, they started because my professor invited them. He saw some qualities in them in the class, physical education class, and I remember I watched them going into training in athletics. We all did soccer, like all good, like good Latin American people. You know, like when you're young, you start with soccer. So we all were playing soccer before, but then our teacher saw that we had potential in athletics, or he said that my brother had potential, and he invited them. And I remember seeing them going to training, and I was always interested. So after a year that they were training there, I asked him to join. I was quite young then. I was maybe 10, 11 years old. And that's when I started slowly going there also to the trainings. It was just more for fun than to competitive or anything. It's just more to try something new because, like I said, it's a small town. There was not much to do. Actually, it was like the first track and field club opening with my teacher as Francisco Javier Valencia Castro. And yeah, it was like a game, I would say. Like it was just like to try new things more than a real love or a real passion for athletics. It was for fun. So we started quite young, me and my brothers, and here I am, like 50 years later, still doing this game that I started as a play, and now it's like I said, it's transferred into my life and a passion.
Wow. Yeah, you seem like the kind of guy that when you're jumping, you are really enjoying yourself, which I think that is something that I tell all the kids. It's like you have to go out there and have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Uh, uh, that's one of the things that I noticed when you were out there. You actually are very relaxed. Uh, get the crowd going. Uh, it's you put quite a show, and I can see you have fun, which is huge.
Yeah, most of the time I think most of the time I try to stay calm, relax, and enjoy the moment. You know, like we're training really hard, we prepare really hard, in every training session. So once a competition arrives, you just have to perform and to show what you have done for training. I mean, competitions are not the day where you actually do something extraordinary to jump the highest. You do work in training, it's not in the competition. Competition is just to perform, to execute what you've been training for. So once you're in competition, I mean, there's a good crowd supporting you and cheering for you, and your friends are there jumping with you. So it's like a party. I always say it's like a party, especially like high jump only competitions, which is quite popular in Europe. It's like a party for high jump for you. So I mean, if you're in a party, you should enjoy it, right? So I try to get the crowd excited also, because I mean, I think after several jumps, it becomes maybe a little, I would say, not boring, but it becomes the same. So you have to do something else to get the crowd going. I mean, having music every time you're jumping, it's quite special. Or, ask for the clap, or just do something funny there after you jump. I think that's what gets the crowd happy and excited. And I mean, it actually transfer this energy to you also. So I mean, it's good to just enjoy the meetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're right. Jumping in Europe and jumping in those meets that are high jump only, the music is literally exactly like you said. It's a party, man. And I do remember I jumped in a couple of those when I was younger, and
Okay.
it's a completely different feeling. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like you just jump. It's the music and and just
Yeah.
it creates so much adrenaline. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, it's like it's transforming. Like it gives you this extra power, right? Like you feel
Right.
like a superhero once you're there and about to jump. You get boosted with this adrenaline, and then you just do it. And I see that you have like a PV of 230 also, like quite good PV. I mean, we have similar
Right.
PV, and it's not easy. It's not easy to jump to 30, so it's really nice. Really good.
Now I think if I look at 230, I'm like, man, I need a ladder to get up there.
Me too. Sometimes. Hopefully,
Oh,
I can improve that. I mean, we're still training. We have like still next year is important year for us. I mean, hopefully everything will get sorted out. So I mean, yeah, why not to keep dreaming and keep fighting and keep believing in yourself.
right. And by the way, on a personal note, I think you 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 are super talented. I mean, you're super talented. It's just basically catching the right day and the right timing when all the stars align. And I have no doubt that you're going to end up jumping way, way above 230. You have
Thank you,
the
thank you.
dedication and the talent. And I think that good things happen to good people and people that work hard. And that's you, my friend. So you do
Thanks, Hugo.
great. Keep cheering for you.
Thank you. I'll keep. I remember these phrases once I'm training next season to keep pushing, and stay motivated.
Right,
So
right, right. That's
yeah.
awesome. Edgar, here is a pretty good question. Okay, it says you
Okay.
jumped from University of Arizona, and you are now in Cologne, and you started in Mexico. So,
Yes.
could you please make a comparison, whether it's the systems and the training between Mexico, United States, and jumping for Arizona, and then now in Germany competing professionally? I mean, whether it's starting from make a comparison of the three. What are your thoughts?
So I would say maybe actually the three of them are a little different phases in any athlete's career. I mean, when I was here in Agua Prieta, I started jumping more like as a game, like I told you, it was for fun, and it started slowly transforming into passion, into something that I actually enjoyed to do. I remember my first time I actually knew I wanted to keep doing high jump for the rest of my life, or like to actually with a goal of going to the Olympics was in 2004. I went to an event called International Children Games in Cleveland, Ohio, and I went to represent Mexico. It was the first time I represented Mexico in any international meet. And I remember I loved the experience. I didn't do that good. I didn't do that well, but I loved the experience. So I think after that is when I grew a passion. So then I stayed 4 more years in Mexico, in Agua Prieta. I left Agua Prieta when I was 18 years old. And then during this time, from 14 to 18 years, I was always every year going to any like other international competitions. But when I was in Agua Prieta, I never felt like I was forced to train. I was not. It was a little relaxed with my coach too. I mean, he was not a coach who was pushing really hard here in Agua Prieta, and I respect him for that, because I think when you're growing up, it's not so good to do like heavy weights or a lot of work, because when you're growing up, you're developing your body, your muscles, and it's when athletes get hurt sometimes. Or if you develop too fast, then athletes cannot keep performing once they're in the older ages. I mean, you see a lot of cases with crazy talented people when they're kids, but then when they get older, they stop, or they get hurt, or they're injured, or they just don't have the will anymore to do it because they don't have fun anymore. So I think when I was here in Agua Prieta, it was more for fun, and I enjoyed. I wanted to do it, but it was never like you must jump high, you must like improve. It was more for fun, right? Then I went to the U.S. in Arizona, and I was representing the university. Then I had a scholarship there, so I knew it was, in a way, I was a little more forced to do it, to jump good for my school, and also, I mean, it was more disciplined. I had a schedule. I had to be on time with my coach. I mean, it was, we had a team. We traveled often to competitions, as opposed to when I was here in Mexico, which I had like probably 5 meets in a year in Mexico. And when I went to Arizona, I had probably 5 meets in a month or so. Like, it was much faster rhythm. So it was a process of adaptation. And I have to say the transition maybe affected me a little bit in a way that you have to start knowing when to jump high or focus a lot in meets and when not to. Because when you're competing that often, it's impossible to just jump high every time, because your body gets tired, and it's normal. So then I think my first years, I struggled with it. At the end of the season, I was just burned out. I remember I was just done with athletics at the end of the seasons. So yeah, as opposed to being here in Mexico, in the US was more, okay, you have to jump high. You have to do it. You have to jump for the school. You have to jump high to get points in the Pac-12 or in the national champs or qualify for indoor champions. It was more like, I would say, a little more like a job in a way, like you have to do it. Maybe that take a little fun of it, but it's part of, like the athletics life, from just being here at home to becoming a student athlete, right? And then when I went to Germany, okay, I graduated. I had to jump high, but it's not now for school or for something, but it's mostly for, I would say, for my personal goals now. Like, there's no, it's not, nothing is forcing me to jump high, but myself, my goals, my dreams, how far I want to get. I mean, a lot of athletes stop jumping after college because now they have to get a job, and they cannot afford their life as an athlete, so it's, or they have to mix both. So then it came to the point also for me, look, I have to take the decision if I continue jumping, only if I can afford this life, or I have to jump and train, and then maybe I have to get a job also, which is valid, right? But I mean, I was lucky enough to afford my life as a jumping, but then you have to sometimes jump again, like you have to jump, maybe not because you want to jump sometimes, but sometimes it's also for a little, for the money or for the rewards. But then you have to be smart. Then you have to know when to focus in meets, when not to. So a different phase of an athlete's life, I would say, in all three places. But I think every place helped me to grow up and to learn and to be where I am at. And yeah, I mean, I have a special memory of all of them. And if you ask me training methods, if one place is better than the other, I cannot tell you exactly, like, okay, the US is better than Mexico, or Mexico is better than Germany. I cannot tell you that because maybe the phases again are different. If I was a student in Mexico in the university, maybe I could tell you a better comparison. Or if I was studying in Germany and I had a club in Germany, then I could tell you a better comparison. But I cannot tell you one is better than the other. I always say this, like it matters more if you are dedicated. If you and your coach are in the same page, that's the most important thing, more than the equipment you have, or more than the expertise your coach have. Because I mean, if your coach is dedicated, I'm sure he will be learning, he will try to be better as a coach. And also, I mean, if you're dedicated, you will go to trainings, you will do what you must do, you will dress, you will not go to party, so it's a mixture. So it's not necessarily where you are at, but how you deal with it. I don't know if I don't know if I was clear. Maybe I'll talk too much, but
No. You make perfect sense. I think that you said it right. This, with this question, in your case, if I'm understanding you correctly, is it will not be a fair comparison because each one of those phases catch you in a different developmental stage while you were
yes,
growing not only as an athlete but as a person. So each one of these stages serve the purpose basically serve a good purpose in developing you into the athlete that you are today. So they were all good.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
And
No,
in
and
a few words,
that's you. I think they're hitting the nail in the head. That's great. Uh, so tell me a little bit about how is it training and competing in Europe now? I mean, it's I know you train with Wolfgang Ritzhoff.
yes.
How
Urban
is
Research.
it? Yes, Coach Ritzhoff. How is it? How is it training with him? I mean, how's your training?
Yes, so I've been in Colombia for 5 years. My teammates are Luis Joel Castro
Yeah.
Rivera from Puerto Rico. He's my teammate now for 5 years. And I mean, we most of the time we train from Mondays to Saturdays. We have sometimes 2 sessions or 1 session per day, maybe 10 sessions a week. And now we're learning we're learning that we have to be a little individual sometimes. You know, we cannot train exactly the same because we have different needs. But it's good to have someone that is fun and training. Or I was going to say good at your level, but that's not necessarily the most important thing. But just someone who wants to really work hard. And I think Luis Joel is a guy who works hard, you know, and he pushes me and I pushes him. So it's a good interaction. We speak all the time, and maybe the coach doesn't like that too much, but it's part of it. You must have fun in training, but must do what you must do in training. You must be disciplined. And I will say the coach, Coach Walt Ritzerf, he's strict. He's I will call it like the typical German guy you will expect. Like he's strict. He's sometimes a little serious too serious sometimes. But you can tell he knows what he's uh, what he's planning doing training, you know. And maybe I'm curious sometimes, and whenever he put a new drill, I ask him, Coach, what is this for? What I'm gonna work for this? That's because I want to know I'm getting better at specific areas, you know, of my body or my technique. So yeah, he gives us a training every Sunday. We're gonna do it the whole week, and then we sometimes we can discuss, and he asks us, okay, what do you think about training? You feel like you need something modification stuff, and then yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. 10 sessions a week. We get the training on Sundays, and yeah, I mean I think he believed in me, my coach. He believes in me, and I believe in his work, and we have a good interaction, me and him. I think we have good good the same goals, like good same direction, and regardless of how things have been good and bad since I'm there. I mean, we went to the Olympics, and maybe things could have gone better or worse. I don't know, but we still have good uh, good hopes for next year, and I'm sure we will make the best we can to be at the Olympics and have a good result there.
That's awesome. That's great. Another one right here. That is, let's see. It says in here, you have trained with many athletes. Now that you are also in Europe, you know, you basically get to see all the guys in tour. Uh, you also have seen different methods of training. How similar or how different do you compare each one of the methods? Like, for example, uh, what the Italians are doing, or how the Germans train, or how the Russians train, or things like that. I remember when we were in, I don't know, it wasn't your what scene. When we were in scene, we were sitting down and having dinner with Costa, and we were talking about technique with Costa, you know, the Greek high jumper, and he was sharing some. He has been in the game for a long time, and he started sharing with us that how guys that he was training with, that he competed against, how they used to train. Uh, some people are very much into plyometrics, no weights. Some people are
Mm-hmm.
very much into a lot of lifting. Some people there is a balance. So everybody works a little bit different, and basically depending on the needs of the jumper. Which is interesting that you touched that subject in regards to your own training partner in Cologne, Luis Joel Castro.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what is what you have seen? I mean, so basically make a little comparison with the way the Russians train, the way you train, the way the Germans train, and the Italians train, or the kids from Sweden. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it's different methods, and I would like to think that it's not necessarily like that. the countries or like regions, but maybe the way the athlete, the body of the athlete can handle the training, right? Um, I think some athletes like to do heavy weights, heavy liftings. That's my case. I rely a lot into weights and then doing some running to get fast, get quick out after the weights, right? But I know, for example, I spoke with Taberi, and he told me he doesn't do weights. Most of the time, he only do boundings or plyometrics, mainly plyometrics. And then you see sometimes the Russians or like people from Ukraine, like Bondarenko, he do a lot of different exercise drills with bands or boundings. So and they don't lift that hard. Actually, my coach, Rizor, he was impressed when me and Luis Joel were doing the weights in Cologne because he said normally high jumpers, according to him, they don't lift that much.
Yeah.
So high jumpers are more like into plyometrics or jumping into box bounces and stuff. So I think it depends on every athlete. I cannot tell you like this, train like this, like that. But then you do learn, and you speak because you're curious, right? And then you start comparing, okay, so what's your squat? What's your clean? Or what's your best 10 step bounding? Or what's your, like, so it's always fun to compare and to ask and to like to try to learn what works for our athletes and then try to adapt it to you to see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, then okay, it doesn't work for me. But don't focus on the idea that if something works for someone, then it should work for you because we have different bodies. I mean, if I look at myself, I remember I used to maybe torment a little myself because I'm a little more into like the heavy side of the high jumpers. I have a little more weight. I mean, if you compare Luis Castro and me, I'm like 10 kilos heavier than him, and we are similar height.
Hmm.
And that was most of the time the case among other high jumpers, me and other high jumpers. Not everyone, but some high jumpers. And I was thinking, I should lose weight. I should lose weight because for sure I'm too heavy. And then I remember one year I tried to lose weight, and it's not that I lose a lot of weight. Maybe I lost like 3 more kilos than my regular weight. But then I felt weak. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel like quick at the takeoff. I think one of my best things I can do is like transfer the takeoff really really like fast. Like a powerful takeoff. And I think when I lose my weight, I couldn't do that too much, or I get tired too easy in competitions. So I was thinking, I might be a little heavier, but then I should think that this heavy thing is not fat, but it's muscle that I can use then on my advantage. So maybe I'm not as light as other jumpers, but maybe I can be stronger, I will say. Not that that's the case, but I should think like this, so that I don't feel I have a disadvantage, right?
Right.
Other high jumpers also, I mean, what if some high jumpers are shorter? Because there are short high jumpers sometimes in the field, and I'm sure they cannot grow up, right? Not that you can just take a pill and then, right? So they cannot think like I should be higher in order to jump. I should be tired in order to jump higher. You cannot think like this, exactly. So you should see us as an advantage. Okay, I'm smaller, but maybe I'm more flexible, or maybe I can run faster, or I can, you have to think about what works for you, and then with that you adapt yourself, your body to the jump. But the other way around normally it doesn't work so well, unfortunately, and it shouldn't because we're different.
I think this is really interesting because you are 100% right. It's everyone is different. I mean, everybody is different. I remember one time I used to have a competition only high jump in Minnesota, and I brought that year with me. It was a competition with music, just like the ones in Germany. I used to organize it here in the United States, and I brought one year Jesse Lima from Brazil,
Nice.
and Dusty Jonas. So they ended up going and jumping together. And at the end of the clinic, they did. We all did a camp, for the kids. And I brought a specialized a nutritionist, a licensed nutritionist, which I remember it was Rasa Traub, which she was an Olympian for Lithuania, and she's also the nutritionist for the Minnesota Twins. And I brought her so she could talk about nutrition for jumpers. I mean, it was great. And as Jesse and Dusty were talking about their trainings, it was interesting that they started saying to each other, how can that work for you? That would mess me up. And then when the other went and started speaking about his training, it was vice versa. Man, do you do that? I mean, that totally will mess me up. I can't do that. But how can you tell each one of those guys that they are wrong? With Dusty, I think that Dusty jumped to 35 or to 36, and then Jesse to 32. I mean, so they all did what worked for them, which is exactly what you are saying. You are doing what works for you, And as we keep asking other jumpers, you realize that it's not that much by countries or training systems. It's very much you get specialized on what works for each individual athlete, which is interesting. You just made a comparison between you and Joel Castro. And Joel is your training partner. You guys are pretty much your roommates. You know exactly what everybody does on the daily basis, and at the same time, you carry your training in a not in a completely different way, but there are some things that might be similar, and there might be things that probably will benefit you. He does his own thing too. So that is awesome. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
And you should think like this. Yeah, I think I should think like this. Like they should all be aware of it. It's like a reality. So when you compare to other athletes, it affects you. So it shouldn't be the case.
This is fantastic because you know what? Now that with this internet, with COVID, I think that the internet business have exploded. Okay, and it is fantastic when I hear something like what you just shared, and it's something that basically people that are in this business and understand this business as far as high jump, I see a lot of individuals selling uh, personalized jump training, and it's definitely something that it's something that I see that is something that is not that easy, and it takes a tremendous amount of tweaking for the pros.
Mm-hmm.
And that tweaking takes a tremendous amount of time. So this is fascinating to me. Cool.
Yeah. I
Thank
mean,
you.
even if you are in within the season, you change your approach sometimes because even yourself, you sometimes you change, you forget some things. I mean, it's a constant, you know, also change. You cannot just say like, okay, it's gonna be like this and it's over. It's change. It's always changing, and you must adapt and you must try and see what feels comfortable to you, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
That's awesome. So now that we're talking about training, could you please share what is your typical, from your training, for example, your typical week of training in pre-season, like from Monday through Sunday, and then a typical week for competition season? I mean,
Okay, so
from Monday through
so
Sunday.
for conditioning, we don't do high jump, we don't do technique.
Mm-hmm.
So look, we have 10 sessions a week. So most of the time, I will say we do three of these 10 sessions will be weights, and it will be every other day. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday weights, the 3 sessions, and then we have 2 sessions of we call it general conditioning,
Okay.
which we bring a mat and we do like abs, or we do medicine ball, or we do like planks. It's just to get strength, and then 2 more sessions of circuits. We call it circuits. We go to the machines, like the knee extension or the leg extensions, or I don't know, like we also get the band, but then we do like takeoff with one leg, or just general exercises for like overall strength, I would say. And then we do running, three sessions of running. I don't know, maybe I already passed 10 sessions, but it's something like this. We split into 3 sessions of weights, maybe 2 conditioning, two circuits, and then three running. So it's three. Yeah, so it's 10 sessions a week. That's the general conditioning most of the time. I mean, we adapt. Sometimes we change a little bit, 1 or 2, but that's the general format of our training, I would say.
When you're talking about circuits, are you talking about body weight circuits?
Yes, I mean, when I say a circuit, we say, okay, we choose 5 exercises, and we take, I don't know, 40 seconds every exercise, and then 30-second rest, and then we do 3 times that, for example. And then the exercises that the coach come up with exercises every day. So we go to the machines, like to the outside, like we do like I say leg extension, or we do like the knee, like it's called knee extension to a knee extension, or hamstring curls, or something like this, and we just do several reps. And it's like, okay, stop, okay, go. So it's like a circuit. From here, jump to their exercise, like this. We do like 3 times, 4 times. It's just for conditioning, for the cardio, to start getting strong again, to get the small joints ready for what's gonna come in the season, you know. So it's just really general, I would say. That's what I would need right now, actually, because I mean, with this thing, I have not been training so well in the stadium, so that's what I've been doing a lot of it here at home or in the garden. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yes. Let's say that general conditioning will be from September till mid-November, I would say, and then in mid-November we'll start with technique, but we don't start right away with high jump. We jump hurdles. The high hurdles is it's not your typical hurdle, but it's like a small high jump hurdle. I don't know if
Right.
you have seen it before, but then we just jump over it. Let's say we put it at 150 or 160, and we jump several of them, similar to Stefan Holm, how he did it.
Right. You know that
So
Valerie Bruno used to train like that back in the day.
really? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I mean that's something that's that kind of that jumping that what now we call home hurdles. That's like, I mean, the Russians were training like that for a long. My coach used to they he coached a bunch of jumpers that jumped 7 feet at the time of Western Roll.
Oh, okay.
So they used to go and train in. They had a time. There was a time where they went to Russia to train. And we are talking about the 60s. Okay, it's a late 60s or so. And they actually were doing that in Russia. So with the high hurdles, and so I think that's a pretty good exercise. It helps.
Yep.
Basically, it's very specific for us, which I think is awesome. And how about during the competition season? I mean, how's your training during competition season?
Yeah, during competition it gets a little more relaxed, and it also depends on which days we have the meeting coming. Maybe we reduce the weights to 2 sessions per week. We do also. I like to do running all the time during the conditioning because the season, because I like to feel I'm quick. We take the time. Sometimes we do like 30-meter. Record at the time for 30 meters, and then I can tell if I'm still fast for me because it's compared to me always or not. Then I know I have to get a little more quick or work my frequency drills and stuff. And of course we put now technical trainings, at least one, like in between the competitions, and we don't jump. It's not that I jump with full approach, but I still jump, I say, with 4 steps, 5 steps, just to keep fresh the technique over the bar. That is what I struggle the most. And yeah, but we reduce training quite a lot from competition to general conditioning or even pre-competition training. So yeah, we do maybe 8 sessions a week, and most of the times competitions are on the weekend. So before the competitions, the day before I never do anything. It's just a personal decision. I don't do anything the day before, and 2 days before competition, I like to do weights.
Okay. That's awesome. So you are one of those guys that lifts before the competition.
Yeah, I lift 2 days before, and sometimes the same day in the morning. Sometimes depends on when the competition is. If it's in the afternoon, I do lift in the morning, but it's just really quick lifting. It's not even heavy. It's just more like quick for I call it to load my muscles. If the meet is too early, then I just don't do much. Maybe I go for a jog or something to not feel so numb or so sleepy during competition. But
okay, that's good. Yeah, there are some jumpers that react better to some loads before the day of the competition. If the competition is in the afternoon, I have heard that some guys lift in the morning. Great, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. In your opinion, Edgar, I mean, every jumper has something that they do really well in something technically, in something that they need to work on. In your opinion, what is something that you think that you do the best of everyone, and what is something technically that you feel like you need to work on that is holding you back?
Yeah. So something I think I do pretty well. I don't want to say like best than everyone, but something I do pretty well is I will say like bringing my last step before the jump, like prepare the penultimate and then jump. I do it quite effective. I will say like I can be going quite really slow, but once it comes to this phase of bringing from the penultimate to the last jump, I think I transform my power really well. I can jump quite good with, let's say, 3 steps because of that. I 3 steps standing, I jumped to 15 before because I just generate, I will say, a lot of power on my last jump. So that's when I was a little annoyed sometimes, where I can jump sometimes the same with 3 steps than with full approach. So bringing that into my weakness is that I think I can improve my approach in the way that I should take more advantage of my speed, or the speed I generate with a full approach into my jump. If I can transform this speed on my last step, but taking into account all the approach will probably help me, because I think the way I jump sometimes is that I start fast, and then somewhere in the middle of the approach I stop a little bit, I put the brakes, and then at the end of the day when I take off, it's not, my full approach doesn't make sense, because then I'm using the speed of maybe my last 4 or 5 steps. So it's just a transition of the smoothness of my approach, of my curve. I think I could improve. I remember there was a test, biomechanical test they did in Everstadt, in a really one of the main high jump events in the world, only high jump, in 2017, and they were measuring the power output of every high jumper takeoff, and there was Barshim was there, Lysenko was there. It was like a lot of athletes who were in the World Championship in 2017, and this test, uh, from all the high jumpers who were there, I was the one who had the strongest takeoff on the ground, right? Then I mean you have to consider also. I mean I'm heavier, for example, than Barshim, so it makes sense that I push more power than him, right? Putting more power doesn't mean I'm gonna jump higher; it just means that I have more power output on the ground, and it showed that I had the most power output. So I was thinking, it's great that I have this power, but maybe I'm not being so efficient into using it on the takeoff. Maybe my direction is not completely up, but maybe I'm going up, and maybe, I don't know, outside or something. I mean, I maybe can be more efficient into this takeoff. So I just always, after that, I remember I'm thinking, I might be a little heavier, but I'm strong, so I can use this power to my advantage. So yes, I have to
Wow.
improve my flexibility, also my technique over the bar, but that's something else.
Yeah, just
Yes.
like you said once when we were chatting. I mean, we were chatting. I remember at the end of one of the meetings in Germany when we were there, and, yeah, and it's like, well, you know what? Yeah, basically, if we all, if we were able to do this, and this, we probably would break the world record. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you
Imagine.
know, I guess we are all working on something. I
Mhm.
mean, we are all trying to perfect something. That's pretty good. Cool, man.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. I think, like, if you as an athlete have goals, or have like something you're working on, and put your eyes on it, it's what gives you motivation to keep training and keep getting up every morning and training and training and training. So I think every athlete should have something in their mind to work on, right? You should,
Right.
and if you don't have, you should find something.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. That's awesome. No, no, you're right. If you're all, that keeps you fresh. You're trying to always. We all try to strive for perfection, despite that perfection might only be by computer. But
Hmm.
but we try. We keep working. That's true. Uh, this is an interesting question. You, in your opinion, Mexico has one of the cities and one of the tracks that is basically where many world records have been broken, that are high altitude. Why why not many of the why not many of the records from the jumps or the speed are Mexican records are not in high altitude, since Mexico has, I mean,
There's
Mexico is a,
amazing
right,
altitude. Yeah.
right. So you guys being Mexicans, why not most of your records are there?
So I think not many meets are organized in Mexico City, actually. I think in Mexico City that's personal experience. I don't know. I don't know. There used to be back in the day several meets there. Relevos SF, for example, I used to go there when I was here in Agua Prieta in Mexico too. It was a great meet. I remember I made a PB there of 220 when I was 18 years old or 17 years old. It was amazing at that time. But I think there's not much interest, or not much people organizing meets in Mexico City. There's more interest, for example, in Monterrey or in Querétaro. They're more into athletics, I would say, in track and field. Um, I think in Latin America in general, athletics or track and field is not a sport who is so popular, and people is not interested into investing money to organize events. So yeah, maybe that's why there's not much interest into organizers to have meets in Mexico City. Maybe I should organize a meet there
You
and
should.
invite people, invite friends, and make it a great meet there because it's high altitude and it's perfect to jump there. It's good, but
Absolutely.
yeah,
It
I
will
guess
be spectacular. I mean, I think that
yeah,
it will be spectacular. And now with the internet, people want, you know what? People want amazing, okay? And I believe that if you organize a meet in Mexico City and invite the guys when they are in peak form, you could be doing something special there. I mean, holy cow.
yeah, yeah. I think it should be something that is well planned, and I think maybe once in a lifetime because also I mean Mexico is a big country, so I mean it's hard to access Mexico City. Wherever in the world you are, it will be quite pricey, right? Quite expensive to get there. Maybe that's also one of the problems, and there's not professional leagues there like they're in Europe. For example, in Europe, athletes get supported with transport and with hotel, with staying, and here we don't have this system. So yeah, I mean, like I said, like I will have to organize something like this in such a way that it's easy for athletes to do, and maybe
Cementos
then
Fortaleza.
I will probably call them. I will talk to them. I remember my brother wanted to do something with them also for long jump. They organize a pole vault competition actually, and it's pretty great.
Wow.
I think it's in El Zócalo, and it's really great competition. And there's a lot of people, and they have videos, and it's really great. So maybe I should talk to them and say if they are interested in high jump, and yeah, why not? I have many friends high jumpers who always ask me they will love to come to Mexico, so it'll be a great opportunity. And then after we all go to the beach or something to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, in Wawunagi, there is a nice question about Mexico there, but I tell you what, I had a pleasure to be in Mexico. Actually, we went to a competition. I believe the competition was organized by the guy that organizes the football competitions, and it was
Okay.
in Mexico City. We spent there about a weekend with my family. Uh, Man, we fell in love with Mexico. I mean,
Yeah.
great place, great food, great people. It was awesome, by the way. We were in a hotel where we saw there was a park, and it was a huge flag, beautiful flag,
Okay.
in Mexico City. Seems like a very iconic area, in Mexico City. We had a great time, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a nice city. It's a big, huge city, and there's a lot to see there. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people will like it. There's a lot of Mexico City has to offer, honestly, and for Mexico in general. So I would love more people to to travel there and to experience it at first hand because I think unfortunately in the news you hear mostly bad things about it and good things, but when you go and visit there, you realize it's not that bad. I mean, we all have bad things in our countries going on, but there's also beautiful things, and I'm happy to hear that, Hugo, honestly, and I'm glad you liked it, and I hope a lot of people can have the same experience like you.
Man, you are 100% right. I remember when we were there and we were basically, we were with my wife and my daughter. We were in a hotel, and I remember we started walking around to basically just to visit the city. And when we left, said, you know what? Anyone that talks about Mexico, not in a like Mexico City, not in a positive way, they haven't been there. Okay,
Yeah,
because the place was awesome. To be honest with you, I mean, we had great food. We had, the city was great. They treated us unbelievable. I mean, my wife is telling me, hey, you know what? If Daniela has an outcome, we should look for a competition in
I
Mexico
should go
this
back.
year
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
back. I mean, we loved it. So
yeah.
you guys have a lot to offer, and you know what? I think that there is a I think that actually, I wish more people should go and visit because I think that is gonna. I mean, I gained 10 pounds, so it was great.
Really? Oh, so maybe for that it's not that good, right? But or it
It was
depends.
good.
Then you go back and you can run a little bit, or yeah,
I tell you a funny story. I went ahead and went to a place. I live in Texas, okay? So I
okay.
went and said, hey, you know what, man? Will you please bring me? I went to a restaurant and I said, hey, man, will you please bring me fajitas? And the guy was like, fajitas? What is fajitas?
They were like, "What are you talking about?"
Fajitas. What is wrong what is that? And I said, man, you gotta be kidding me. Fajitas, man. You go with the steak, You got it. I mean, it's great. You know, they're like, man, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I
There's
think that's
Mexican food. That's not Mexican food.
yeah, like Tex-Mex, I think.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
like
right. I was
in
like,
Texas, I mean, I think like that this genre of food is like called Tex-Mex. Is mostly like what you expect from a Mexican food outside of Mexico, and you will find fajitas, or you have like the burrito, like a typical like restaurant. Yeah, so it's funny. Yes, I remember people asked me before too, like, "What do you like fajitas?" And I had like no idea what like, how you do it, how you do it, how you cook them, you know. But now I know because I know in restaurants. But it's funny, yes,
that is
more
funny.
like
Yeah,
Tex-Mex. Yes.
it's interesting. Daniela started a blog in her YouTube channel about visiting the top place. We like food, okay? So, and she picked a category which she still is editing this one. That is the best taco places in Houston.
Okay.
And I am telling you, we picked the top 5. Okay. As of right now, and I am not going to say the name yet because probably the video is going to come out in a couple of weeks. There is a food truck, a truck. Basically, es un carrito, un camión. Okay?
Mhm.
In the middle, it's in Houston. Okay, like basically the city. We live in the suburbs. Man, there is a line. Okay, of
Okay.
like there is a line. I would say the line is about 40 feet, 50 feet
Yeah.
of people. Basically, just every time that we go there, the tacos are
It's
awesome.
always full.
It's always
Okay.
full, and it's not. Seems to me, you know, because I am not from Mexico, but seems to me so authentical that it's very different than the taco that I will eat in the suburb where I live. You know, it's like completely different.
In a restaurant, sitting in a table and stuff, it's different.
Completely different. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I know like the most simple ways to eat a taco is the best. Like I would say, like also here in Mexico, I mean, you have a lot of like food trucks like this, like small food trucks, and they have amazing food. And yeah, it's just simple, you know, like they make it delicious. They don't need like a fancy, you know, restaurant or table or anything. You just need to put salsa and lemon and stuff, and then you're good to
Right,
go.
right. For,
Yeah,
for what I buy one taco in the fancy place, I eat 5. I eat 5 on the other one.
that's crazy.
That's funny. That's funny. Uh, you know what? Actually, this is a question from Tatiana Gusin, the girl from Greece,
Ah,
the
yes.
high jumper. Tatiana asked, "Who's your favorite female high jumper?"
Tatiana, of course. Favorite female jumper? Um, Good question.
Hey,
I
Gaspar.
don't know.
Gaspar is right here.
I cannot see. Maybe you have different screen than me, right? I cannot see who's
Yeah, no,
writing. I
Gaspar.
guess.
Actually, Gaspar down here. I see Gaspar say, yeah, yeah. Gaspar is saying hi.
Hi, Gaspar, and hi, Tatiana. I don't know. I would say I like the way Blanca Biasic jumped. You know, like in a way that you said before, like you can tell she was having fun while jumping, and I think that's something really important. If you have fun, you're not most of the time you're not nervous, and you will perform at your best mainly. It might seem like you are being goofy or you might not being serious, but I mean, if you're dancing after you jump and you're jumping 205 or 207, who cares? I mean, you're good, you're great. So I like the way she jumped and the way she could jump a lot through her career, and I mean she would be one of my top. Also, I mean, Ruth Beitia, she won an Olympic medal at a quite old age, and it tells you like it doesn't matter. Age is not a barrier. You know, like you can do it if you train and you put your mind into it. So she was also really nice, really friendly. I met her and she was great and really humble. So it's always a quality. You know, like if you're successful and you're humble, I mean, that's you remember that. Not the success, but the humbleness. That how nice you were as a person. So yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, I think that.
But Tatiana is for sure one of the top.
Yeah, yeah. No, no,
I was
no.
like Tatiana is one of the top high jumpers, favorite high jumpers. I was saying.
Tatiana is up there. Yeah.
But it's up there. Yes, up there. It's up there. It was close. It was close. It was close. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? We want to ask. There are a couple of questions right in here. Let's see from the public. Says Gaspar is asking, "Who's your favorite Estonian?"
Estonian. I only know one Estonian, and it's not so fun actually. So I don't know. That's a tough
Okay.
question.
Tough question. Okay,
Tough question. Sorry, Gaspar. Nah, okay, no. Of course, Gaspar is a nice friend. We competed before also. He always make fun because he said he beat me in a competition, but the point was like I was disqualified. I was competing in the national champs for Estonia, and they didn't count me. Like I jumped to 25, but they didn't count my jump because I was not from Estonia. So Gaspar jumped 190, and then he was on top of me in the list, and he always said that he beat me.
So officially, Gaspar won.
I guess so. Yes.
That's fun.
It was Gaspar happiest day. I would say he didn't sleep the day, and he was.
That is honor. That is honor. Awesome. Triana is saying hola, Catabriga.
Hola, Triana.
Triana is saying, when are you planning to fly back to Germany?
So, I'm planning to fly maybe before June ends. I don't know if I will focus too much on this season anymore because it doesn't count anyways for the Olympic qualification, and it will be mostly for myself. So I mean, I'm still planning to go back to June. I talked to my coach in May, and we discussed that, and we said we might do a couple meets in August. But honestly, if I go back to Europe right now, it will be mainly for training a little bit and just jump a few meets in August. But yeah, well, I was still deciding.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Looks like there is one more question right here. Hold on, let me see. Let's see who tradition. Okay, I think that we are good there. I think that all the questions that I think that we addressed most of the questions.
Okay.
Let's. There was one right here. Somebody's asking, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
Holiday tradition. I really enjoyed traveling with my family to San Carlos or Guayaquino in this case. I mean, it's a beach area close to Hermosillo, which is the state capital in Sonora here. And we actually last year we went there and we rented a place, a hotel, and then the next day we went to do some snorkeling there with my brothers, and it was really fun. It's regular. It's a regular day. You go to the beach and we just eat something there. We drink a little bit and we ride some, like there's called something called the banana. It's like literally like a big banana made of like just a plastic, and then you get pulled in a ship. So you sit down in the banana and then they pull you in a ship. So it's also quite fun. Like it's like you're riding like a wild horse bull or something. So I would say this is one of my
That is awesome.
good experiences. Yeah, it's really fun, and it's close from here, like 5 hours in a car drive. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Edgar, first and foremost, thank you very much for being with us. It's always a pleasure. I mean, always a pleasure to talk to you, to see you. You are someone that has very established goals in mind, and you are somebody that executes, which is most important. Uh, eh, you are somebody that is pretty much how we call in the United States, you are a go-getter.
thanks.
You walk the talk, and I respect that. Okay, congratulations. Just to finish here, do you want to say thanks to somebody, to your family, to your sponsors? I'm giving you the mic is yours.
Yeah. I mean, thank you very much to you for the invitation. It's always fun to to see you, to talk to you. I mean, you're also a great person, and it's fun. You're a fun person, and you're always supporting your daughter, which tells me you're a great dad also, and you are a great high jumper. I mean, so many good things that I can say about you. But I mean, thanks for the invitation, and of course, thanks for the people who joined us today. I couldn't see so much who were riding there, but I mean, it was nice to have you here with us. I hope you didn't get too bored here with me, listening to me. And I mean, I want to thank all the people who follow me, who believes in my career, in my dream, and I guarantee you I will give my best next year to make it a good year. And like I always do, I always try to do my best in every competition I do, regardless of how sometimes it doesn't go the way I expected. I always do my best, and it will not be an exception next year. I will work really hard, and I will do my best to be in Tokyo and to be there like at the top. So yeah, thank you everyone who joined us today, and I hope you are having a good time with your family and stay at home, and I wish health for everyone, and better times to come for sure.
Edgar, you are a great ambassador to the sport and from Mexico. To Mexico, to be honest with you. So thank you, brother, okay?
Thanks, Hugo.
You represent the sport and you represent Mexico very high. Thank you.
That's I'm trying. You know, you always see you can do better, right? So I'm still gonna keep going until my body say no more. So
Awesome,
we'll
brother.
see.
Take care of yourself and thank you. We'll be talking.
Okay,
Bye,
Hugo. Ciao,
Bye-bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for being
Bye.
with us, guys. Thank you.